I thought Friday Night SmackDown was going to be Friday Night SmackDown last night, and I thought Pretty Deadly were finally going to get themselves a tag team title shot. But no, the Bloodline get themselves yet another title shot, and I am absolutely fuming. Welcome to Allison Analysis, the show where I rate wrestling shows using only emojis. Why? I don't really know why. It seemed like a good idea in my head. SmackDown kicked off with Nick Aldis telling the Bloodline that they were out of the tag team gauntlet match later in the night due to an eye injury to Tonga Loa. But Solo Sikoa then walked in and said, "Hey Nick Aldis, if it's okay with you, Jacob Fatu can replace Tonga Loa." And I understand this line was meant to be sarcastic. It was meant to be intimidating. But it just wasn't. It sounded like he was asking his elementary school teacher if he could go to the toilet or something. It just didn't sound intimidating. It wasn't delivered very well. And Solo Sikoa gets way too much hate a lot of the time. But when it comes to this one instance, I mean, he did not deliver this line well at all. It was not intimidating. And unfortunately, that's going to get a thumbs down from me. But I'll straight away have to flip this thumb around because LA Knight vs Santos Escobar was a lot of fun and a brilliant opening to Friday Night SmackDown. Logan Paul tried to help Santos Escobar get the win, but it didn't matter. LA Knight got the win anyway, and LA Knight is more over than ever right now. Seriously, he needs to win the United States Championship at SummerSlam. Otherwise, I fear fans are just going to lose hope in him. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair then called out the women's tag team champions, the Unholy Union. The Union then attacked Belair and Cargill from behind, but it backfired and Belair and Cargill ended the segment standing tall. This segment was decent, it was fine, but I'm gonna be honest, this storyline has just gone cold for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of all four women involved, but this storyline's just gone on for ages, but without really anything happening. I mean, it feels like months ago that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair lost the tag team championships, and only now they're trying to get them back. I just don't really care for it. It was then time for the tag team #1 contender gauntlet match, and Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin kicked it off, taking on Berto and Garza, and I mean, this was a fun way to open it, but it really picked up once the Street Profits came out. Corbin and Crews is such a random duo. They really are, but they really impressed me during this match. And even though they were only in it for 10-15 minutes, their performance will actually get a bit of a subtle round of applause off me because they gelled so well together. Up next, Pretty Deadly came out for what I thought was going to be the crowning moment of Yes Boys, The Boys, My Boys, Pretty Deadly. They're one of the most entertaining acts in WWE right now, certainly in the men's tag team division, so I thought it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to win this. But they lost, and I am fuming. This was a disgrace. I've got no choice but to become an AEW mark, in fact. I've lost all faith in WWE. They should have won this. Disgraceful. But in all seriousness, gimmicks aside, right, Pretty Deadly I genuinely do think deserve better. They are so entertaining. They are such a good tag team. They are underrated between the ropes as well. And they've just not been booked that well on the main roster. They deserve a lot better because every opportunity they have, they absolutely kill it with, right? Pretty Deadly the musical. I don't know if this is actually happening or not. I really hope it is, and I really hope Chelsea Green's involved like I pitched a few weeks ago. But this was disappointing. I get the Bloodline is obviously the story right now, but I really hope Pretty Deadly do get those belts in the next 6 to 12 months because they deserve it. They really do. The Profits then defeated the OC to go 3-0 in this. And by the way, I need to give a quick shout out to the Profits here because they deserve a subtle round of it. In fact, not even that. They deserve my money for their performance during this match, right? Because both of them were absolutely killing it. But it wasn't enough because the Bloodline came out. Jacob Fatu is doing the super cool moonsault. He does all the cool stuff, right? And of course, the Bloodline won. It wasn't very surprising, but it was a good showing. And overall, well, this gauntlet match was a lot of fun. And in fact, it can take a subtle round of applause from me. A-Town Down Under then called out boxing world champion or whatever it is, Terence Crawford. And he came down. But Grayson Waller just threw Austin Theory under the bus once again, and Austin Theory got knocked out. Grayson Waller was running away. I get the point here is to try and make fans feel bad for Austin Theory, but I just don't think that's what's happening. In fact, I think most fans are enjoying this. And I just don't really know what the direction is. Because if Waller turns on Theory, I actually genuinely fear fans are going to be rooting for Waller. They just don't care for Theory, and it sucks because the guy's got a lot of talent. He's young, but they've just not booked him very well, and something's missing too. And the something that's missing certainly isn't this. This isn't doing that. I understand Triple H wanted to try something, right? I get that, but this just hasn't worked out. In fact, it's backfired, to be honest with you. It's probably done more harm than good for Theory. I don't know where they go from here with him. Maybe it is one of those cases where he has to leave the company and kind of revive himself and then come back. Because the guy is still young too, right? He's young, he's got boatloads, bucket loads of talent. But just something's missing. But the crowd enjoyed this. It was decent, it was fine. It got Terence Crawford out there, it was fun. Cody Rhodes then cut a good backstage, or pre-recorded promo, I should say, from Japan, where he said, "Next week, Solo Sikoa, I want you face to face. This will get a thumbs up from me." But in the main event, we had Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax taking on Bayley and Michin, but Michin was taken out before the bell, basically making this a handicap match. But Michin eventually got back into it, and it was a fun main event, even though it did have a few sloppy moments at times, but still, I'll give it a thumbs up. It was fun. Nia Jax pinned Bayley with a little bit of help from Tiffany Stratton's briefcase. Yeah, it was fun. Nia Jax pinned the Women's World Champion, giving her a lot of momentum heading into SummerSlam. Overall, this week's episode of SmackDown was decent. It was fine, but it just didn't really feel that important. It didn't feel very special. In fact, it felt like a filler show. And of course, it was also a pre-recorded show, and that was obvious too. It just felt like they didn't really care about it. It completely and utterly lacked any big moments, anything of real substance. Plus, the piped-in crowd noise just didn't really work for me either. Usually they're quite good at that, but last night it was like it went from silent to really loud out of nowhere. It didn't really work. It felt super unnatural. But the gauntlet match was a lot of fun, and that was undoubtedly match of the night. And talking about that, we have to talk about the Street Profits. And I can only give one performer of the night, so I'm going to give it to Montez Ford because of that dive to the outside during it. But both of the Street Profits absolutely delivered during it. Moment of the night, I'll give to Nia Jax pinning Bayley. It's not every day you see the WWE Women's Champion get pinned, so it's a big moment, and I am excited for Nia Jax versus Bayley at SummerSlam. But most importantly of all, what did you guys think of the show? Please let me know down in the comments below. Were you as fuming as I was that Pretty Deadly took another L, or am I overreacting? I'm guessing I'm probably overreacting, but let me know your thoughts down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already for daily podcasts, news, and more shit Wrestling Republic. I will see you guys soon. Peace!